Hi, everybody. Thank you for volunteering again for the 2018 homeless count. I'm Carolyn Curry with the Tarrant County Homeless Coalition, and today I'm going to walk you through the survey tool that we're going to use this year. This year, instead of using paper surveys as we have in years past, we are switching to a mobile app so we can take all of the surveys from your phone when you're out on count night. So let's just get started. So a few questions. Why are we using an app this year? Um, we're switching over because it's a little bit easier to use for the volunteers and for us on the back end. For those who have done this before, you'll recall in the past we send you out with a bunch of paper surveys. You may have a clipboard, a bunch of pens. It might be cold and dark. You may or may not have a flashlight. You're trying to ask somebody some pretty personal questions and write it all down in the dark. And then you have to return all these surveys to us at the end of the night. We're just getting rid of all of the paper process, and that'll simplify it for you. Using it on your phone as an app, you just scroll through. It's a lot easier to click buttons and hit submit when you're done, so it's a lot easier of a process. And it's real-time live data. So when you hit surveys, we'll be able to see it come in from headquarters and see how everything's going. We can see if there's an issue. We can contact you immediately to fix things, or if you have questions, you can contact us easier. So it's just going to be a simpler, cleaner process. So with that, I want to get started into how to download the app. So on your screen, you see a flyer that we will have attached to the email. There's two ways you can access the app. You can either scan the QR code, which is in the top right corner of your screen, or you can go to the Google Play or the Apple App Store and search the term Counting Us and look for the app and download it from there. The app, it's got a blue circle with a white check mark in the middle of it. That's the one that you want to download onto your phone. So with that, I'm going to show you how to register. On my screen, I'm doing this on my computer screen, but it's the same layout as it will be on your phone. So the first thing you want to do, well, first of all, we want to really encourage everyone to download this ahead of time and test the app ahead of time. Take practice surveys, play around. Right now, everything is in test mode. So whatever surveys you take from now until Thursday, that's going to be deleted. It's in test mode. So feel free to download this. The app is free, no cost to you. So go ahead and do this ahead of time. And that way we won't have everyone trying to download it at the same time on count night. So with that, once you've downloaded it, this will be what your screen looks like. You're going to click on register and then enter your personal data. So I'll enter my first name, your email, and we do not share your email with anyone. This is just for tracking on the back end for us. Your cell phone number, we need that because when you're out, 3635, when you're out in the field, if we see that there's a survey coming in and it looks wrong, we can call you immediately on your phone that you're taking the survey with and address any issues at that time. So that's all the personal information it wants, your name, email, and phone number, and a password. And you click Submit Registration. And I did it wrong. I guess it wants the dashes with the phone number. And now we're in. So at this point, once you've registered, it'll take you back to the home screen where you'll go and you'll type in your password and you log back in. And at this point, we need to connect you to our count. So mine says change count. Yours will say choose count. So you'll click choose count and then join new count. Click that button, and then from this screen you'll see a white box. This is where you're going to enter your setup key. And the setup key is what's going to connect you to the Tarrant and Parker County count. So you're going to type in TCHC 18, TCHC 18, and click join count. And at that part, you are now connected to our community. And it'll say you're now counting for Tarrant County 2018 pit count. So that's where you want it to be. Okay, so at this point, you have downloaded the app, created an account, and you are linked to the Tarrant County app. So from here, we're going to do a quick walkthrough of the surveys and show you what that looks like. So to take a survey, this is what you'll do. You're going to go out on your route on count night, and you'll come across an individual who's sleeping outdoors. That's somebody you're going to approach to take a survey. Once you find them and you're ready to do the survey, you'll click Get Started. And from here, you're going to see two survey observations, HUD pit observation and HUD pit interview HUD pit interview survey. The observation survey, I'm not going to walk through that right now, But it's basically if you come across an individual and they are asleep, or if they're not interested in talking to you, or they don't want to answer any questions, you will do the HUD PIT observation. And that one is just going to ask you a few questions that you may be able to gather just by looking at someone. So you'll be able to enter their gender, an age range. If you think they're in their 30s, there's an age range you can put in there. And then race and ethnicity to the best of your ability and where they're sleeping that night. So if they're in a tent, you can say sleeping outdoors in a tent. And then you'll submit that. So it's pretty basic, and we won't walk through that one right now. Feel free to test it after you download the app. The second one is the HUD PIT interview. So this is the one you're going to be taking for most of the people you encounter on count night. And this is the full survey with all of the questions. So when you click on HUD PIT interview, the first question you're going to get is individual or household. You will click individual probably the majority of the time. So somebody that's just out there alone, if they are sleeping with a group of other individuals that they're not related to or it's not part of their family, you would consider that an individual, not a household. If you come across in a family, a parent with children, a couple, or people that identify as a family or a household, then you would select household. I think a parent and child is probably the easiest example to use, but there are other opportunities. So keep it simple and just consider it a family. If you select individual, it's going to be the exact same questions as a household survey with the exception of one. So I'm going to walk us quickly through the household survey so you can see what to expect. So let's select household. The first question it's going to ask for household is how many people are in this household. So this says including yourself, how many adults and children are in the household who are sleeping in the same location tonight. So let's say it's a mother and a child. So we're going to say there's 2 people in this household. They are both sleeping outdoors tonight. You click OK. The next step that it's going to show you is the pinpoint on the map of where you are when you're taking the survey. So you don't have to worry about writing down location anymore. You don't have to worry about writing down intersection. This app is going to automatically tell us where you are. So from there, you'll see your dot, then you click next step. So when you're doing the household survey, the first question is going to automatically default to the head of household. So if you are taking this with a parent and a child, do the parent first because they will be the head of household. And you'll see that as you go in, it's gray, you can't change it. From there, you'll see the questions are pretty simple to fill out from your phone. So it's either going to be drop down and you select it. You might have to type a few things. Let's see, date of birth, I believe it's going to be a scroll at the bottom. You'll just select the month, the day, and the year. So it's pretty easy to do. Flip that through your phone. Let's see, whoops. There's options for age ranges. Gender, it's a it's a drop down. And then you get down here and you have a few checkbox options. So you can, so there's different options. It's pretty easy to complete from your phone. We may walk through these questions more on the count night, but the one I do want to call your attention to right now is the last 2 questions. Would you be interested in a follow-up visit by a street outreach worker? We asked that question because we have professional teams of street outreach workers who go out and can provide appropriate services after the count. So if this person is interested in getting access to healthcare or housing or medical vision, whatnot, these outreach workers can go back the next day or later on and visit with them and connect them to the appropriate resources. So you can ask them, would you be interested in a follow-up visit by a street outreach worker? If they say yes, this bottom box is where you can put all the details that we might need to know, that the outreach worker might need to find them. So maybe you put their cell phone number or their email address. Maybe there's language barriers or safety concerns. Maybe there's a dog there. Any general description of the location. Or if this individual says, every Tuesday I go to the library, you can type that in there and the street outreach worker can know to go to the library on Tuesday to find them. So put anything that might be helpful in this box. Additionally, this is an open text box, so if there's any other pertinent information you feel like we would need to know, feel free to type whatever you think is necessary. It's kind of a general notes box, and whatever you think we need, feel free to use it there. So with that, you've gone through all of the questions and you've completed the survey for the first member of the household. So you've completed it on the parent. At this point, when you're submitting a survey, you have two options. You can do submit survey, which submits it and you're done with that one, or you can choose to save it as draft. You would select save draft if you're in a location where you don't have a good cell service, or for some reason you're not getting connection and submit's not going to go through. You would click save draft, and then it's just going to save it for you. And we'll go back to that in just a second on how to submit it. So once you hit submit, or either submit as draft or submit survey, it's going to automatically take you to the second member of the household survey. So in this instance, we will say it's the child. So on this one, you do have to select the relationship to the head of household. So as you can see, it's child, spouse, partner, other relative, or unrelated. So we'll say child. The rest of the questions are exactly the same as the first survey. Then you scroll down, you have the same interest in a street outreach worker visit and the same notes box. So again, let's do save as draft. Pretend like we don't have good signal, and you save as draft. When you're done with both of those surveys, it's going to take you back to the home screen where you're free to move on. You see the next person you want to survey, you just pick whichever survey is relevant, and you keep moving on. At the end of the night, or whenever you're back to a location that gives you a good cell signal or Wi-Fi or whatever you need, you'll need to go back and submit those draft surveys that you just took. So from your home screen, you can see at the bottom where it says draft, there's a 3. That means there's 3 drafts that I have in here that need to be submitted. So the way you submit them is you click on draft, and then here's the surveys. So you click on the top one, you go to the bottom and click open draft, and then it opens up your survey. You go to the bottom and you hit submit survey. And then you'll get this successful submission box. And you just do that every time until all of them are submitted, and then you are good to go. Once you submit the survey, the data will leave your phone. I believe it's saved in a cloud, and we don't have to worry about confidentiality issues because it goes to a server that only we have access to. And this app, it's good. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have Wi-Fi once you get going because you can save them as drafts. So that's a good addition or a good feature on this app. Let's see. With that, once you get back to your, when you return at the end of the evening to return your maps, somebody from the staff will double check your phone to make sure you've submitted all of your draft surveys and make sure they're all off your phone so we can have access to them. So with that, feel free to go ahead and download the app now. Again, we encourage you to download it sooner rather than later. Create your account, put in that site key, which is TCHC18, and start taking test surveys and start playing around. If you have any problems or questions with the app, send an email to tchc@ahomewithhope.org and let us know, and we'll help you out. Additionally, at the account site, we will have staff there on site to help you download and figure out any other issues you may have, and we will try our best to get it all worked out. So thank you again for volunteering with the Homeless Count, and we'll see you soon.